Meet the most potent battle tank in the world today, the M1 Abrams. From its 120mm cannon to its advanced armor system, it is the ultimate chariot of war.
Rolling onto the battlefield a century ago, the armored tank revolutionized combat. From the bitter winter battles of World War II to the blazing desert conflicts of the Gulf Wars. Now I get to test some of history's greatest tanks.
On the way!
And ride along with the men who command the latest 21st century armored beasts.
That was awesome! This is the M1 Abrams, and this is a weapon that changed the world.
Firepower. Nothing shaped military capability more. I'm Will Willis, former Army Ranger and Air Force pararescueman. I've trained with modern weapons until firing them is second nature. Now I'm teaming up with leading experts to examine the greatest military firearms of all time and discover how these weapons changed the world. The king of all armored fighting vehicles is the tank. It combines speed, mobility, striking power, and a thick layer of defensive armor plate. The main battle tank is the key weapon in any modern army, delivering maximum mobility and firepower.
You don't want to be on the receiving end of that kind of attention. That's the M1 Abrams, the most combat-proven battle tank in the world today. I've come to Fort Irwin in the California desert, home of the U.S. Army National Training Center, to learn about how 100 years after these beasts first rolled into combat, they're still rocking the battlefield with 21st century technology.
Today, we have a front row seat as the Army's 11th Armored Cavalry conducts a full-scale war game. A platoon of Abrams tanks are led by Bradley fighting vehicles carrying infantry to a town suspected of hiding enemy forces.
The objective of this whole training is to work on skills to defeat a near-peer competitor on the battlefield. Currently, right now, we've secured this town. We have our forces going up to an enemy training camp. So those M1 tanks are moving forward to defeat that enemy force.
The Abrams tanks pound the enemy camp, but it's not enough. To capture the camp, they must scorch a path through a dense enemy minefield. To do this, they launch a rocket-projected line charge called a MICLIC. It's a giant string of C4 explosive packets.
The MICLIC device helps us get through the enemy's minefield. It's a mine-clearing charge. And it creates a path that allows our Abrams tanks to move through that minefield in a safe manner.
The minefield cleared, the 68-ton Abrams tanks race to reach their objective and eliminate the targets. Mission complete.
The Abrams has 4 guns. The main one is the M256 120mm cannon. It's made by Rheinmetall in Germany. It's got a smooth bore barrel and is designed to engage targets all the way out to 2 miles, and that's pretty impressive.
And with its advanced optical systems, it can operate just as effectively day or night. The other 3 guns on the Abrams are machine guns. A Ma Deuce, the Browning M2 HB 50 cal, is mounted outside the commander's hatch. Then there are two M240 Bravo 7.62 millimeter machine guns. One is mounted in line with the main gun. The other is operated by the loader in close quarter combat situations. The Abrams armor is designed for maximum deflection, including sloped armor providing maximum protection to a frontal attack. Its secret weapon is a composite material called Chobham armor, formed from layers of steel, ceramics, plastics, and Kevlar. When an incoming round hits, the ceramic deforms the round, preventing any further penetration. Air pockets prevent the shock of impact from entering the cabin. To get the inside scoop on the Abrams, I'm meeting one of Fort Irwin's most seasoned tankers, Master Gunner Sergeant First Class Christopher Fowler.
I've been on tank for 16 years now.
16 years, since the day you joined service?
Since way back then until now.
That must mean that you really love this weapon system.
I do. I mean, very few people in the world could say they've been on a tank. It's a unique combination of speed, power. It'll go 40 miles an hour. It can take out choppers, light armor. It could defeat just about anything on the battlefield, primarily used to destroy enemy tanks. It's just so powerful. It's very impressive.
And how many personnel does it take to operate this specific weapon system?
Every tank has a 4-man crew. I'm the tank commander. I pretty much oversee everything that goes on the tank. You have a driver who drives the tank, the loader, he loads the rounds, and the gunner, his purpose is to acquire and destroy the targets.
Well, what do you say we go up here and we actually talk to these gents?
All right, let's do it.
All right.
The main compartment holds 3 crewmen. Once the hatch is closed, their home is a steel armored box. The gunner manning this tank is 19-year-old Private Jacob Winstanley.
I've been in this position for about 6 months now. My primary duties is controlling the 120 and the coaxial 7.62 M240 Bravo.
You do that with all this apparatus in front of you.
I have the ability to switch in between either of those two with the simple switch. You have a selector switch for main and coax. You have the different types of ammunition you can select, and our sight, the GPS, the gunner's primary sight. Both of these weapon systems operate through the gunner's primary sight.
What is that lens next to the GPS?
That is a flare sight. It's a forward-looking infrared. It just makes it easier for us to track on the move, especially at night.
So how does it feel to be moving 40 miles an hour in any given direction and fire this weapon system?
Feels like cheating, I guess, a little bit. It's not very fair for the opponent, but I guess we're not looking to be very fair. On the line!
Sergeant Fowler, this guy is a private. Is this a typical duty position for a private? It seems like a lot of responsibility.
Not usually. Usually a senior specialist or a sergeant is the gunner.
So how did he become the gunner?
Well, a lot of people compare shooting a tank to playing video games, and Winstanley was pretty good at video games. So we put him through a couple of gunnery simulators, and he did really well, so he earned the title.
And for him to trust you with all that responsibility, how does that make you feel?
I feel honored. You know, I feel honored every day. You know, it's not every day that you get to shoot a freaking tank. You know, it's very good. So very, very privileged.
One of the Abrams' big advantages is its ability to shoot on the move. A gyro-stabilized barrel and turret featuring electric motors hold the gun steady as the tank moves up and down slopes. Computers factor in the tank's speed, wind velocity, and the bend of the gun, allowing improved range and accuracy.
From what I understand, this tank is actually built and designed around a 1,500 horsepower engine.
Yes, it's a turbine jet engine, runs on high-quality jet fuel, JP8.
With a 500-gallon gas tank, it can drive 279 miles without refueling. That's about 0.6 miles per gallon. The M1 A2 Abrams top speed is around 40 miles per hour, and it's so quiet it's nicknamed Whispering Death. Arming the main cannon is the job of the loader. When fired, a shell leaves the barrel at close to 2.5 thousand miles per hour.
What I've got here is probably one of the most interesting rounds I've ever seen. This is a sabot round. Now, this 120 millimeter cannon fires 3 different sabot rounds. Okay, this is the training one. It weighs about 65 pounds. These rounds can be loaded in about 3 seconds into the barrel of the cannon before they go down range. And it has a maximum rate of fire of 8 to 9 rounds a minute.
To see how much power this gun generates, I'm getting inside an Abrams to fire a sabot round.
awesome. Oh my God. That happened so fast. It was so explosive. There's so much power.
Discover the past with exclusive military history documentaries and ad-free podcasts presented by world-renowned historians, all on History Hit. Watch them on your smart TV or on the go with your mobile device. Download the app now to watch everything, from the gripping story of the Band of Brothers to Operation Barbarossa and D-Day. Immerse yourself in the dramatic stories of this remarkable era by signing up via the link in the description.
The M1 Abrams tank is considered to be the best battle tank in the world today. Even at 68 tons, it's as agile as a Panther and as hard-hitting as a barrel of dynamite. To appreciate why the Abrams is so formidable, we first need to take a look at the history of the tank. Compared to the Abrams, the earliest tanks are primitive, but at the time, they were on the cutting edge of technology. World War I. European armies are quickly bogged down into static trench warfare. Due to heavy machine gun and artillery fire, mass charges become ineffective, so a new battle tactic is needed to break enemy positions. The most promising is an armored vehicle fitted with machine guns featuring a caterpillar track, as utilized on agricultural tractors. It is designed to drive across no man's land and through barbed wire, while protecting the soldiers on the inside from oncoming fire. However, top speeds are only about 2 miles per hour. By World War II, some forward-thinking military theorists see their potential, and the tank is ready to dominate the battlefield. One of the most respected armored vehicles of the Second World War is the American Hellcat. And I've come to the New Mexico desert to fire one of the last working models.
Made by Buick, it was the fastest armored track fighting vehicle of the war with a top speed of about 60 miles an hour. It's the M18 Hellcat tank destroyer, an armored vehicle designed specifically for destroying enemy tanks.
The Hellcat carries a high-velocity 76mm gun. Weighing less than 18 tons with light 25mm armor, the Hellcat is the fastest armored fighting vehicle of its era. To give me some background on World War II tanks, Hellcat owner and operator Dan Dolan has agreed to help.
This particular tank is part of our national history. If private individuals weren't restoring these and driving them around and demonstrating them, nobody else would.
So Dan, during World War II, how did the tank become such a dominant player on the battlefield?
Well, the Germans developed tank warfare, and that was really called the Blitzkrieg. German commanders would use armor to spearhead attacks on other armies. And they could blow through with the cannons, and then the infantry would follow behind the tanks. That's how it became a dominant warfare mechanism in World War II.
Now, was the Hellcat developed with a specific purpose in mind?
Yeah, it was. And they wanted to come up with something that would be fast and mobile so that it would be a specific tank killer.
Was it capable of penetrating the armor of a German Tiger?
The theory was that the Hellcat would run in, shoot the German tank from the side, or shoot the track off, or shoot in the engine compartment, and then quickly get out of the way.
To see just what the Hellcat can do, Dan is allowing me to run his baby through a few tests. We'll check the vehicle's speed and maneuverability. First, I need a quick driving lesson.
First thing you got to do is you got to reach behind the seat. There's a box, and you'll find two. You feel it with your right hand. There's 2 switches.
All right.
Now that turns the battery on.
Okay.
Okay. See that black handle in front of you there? There's a black knob.
Yes, sir.
Pump that 4 times.
1, 2, 3.
What that does, that primes the engine.
Got it.
All right. Then you see on top there, looks like a light switch. It says magneto, left, right,
Yes, sir.
both. Flip that over to both.
Got it.
This is an aircraft engine, so you gotta have both magnetos operational.
Okay.
Now the driving position, you got 2 handles in front of you there.
Okay.
Those are brakes. The tracks do not reverse in this vehicle.
Okay.
All you have is brake steering.
Okay.
So when you pull the right brake, you're gonna turn to the right.
Oh, I got it.
And there's a gas pedal down there, and it's painted bright red down at your right foot.
I see that.
That's how you drive. Give it a little gas.
There you go. Ready to do it?
Yep, let's go.
To see if I would have had the skills to outmaneuver a Tiger tank, I'm going to drive this M18 Hellcat as fast as possible around these flags and destroy the barrel obstacles. This battle beast can reach 60 miles per hour. Let's see what I can get out of it. Driving the Hellcat was pretty cool. It's a little bit like steering an old tractor or something. You know, you stop one track, the other one moves forward. So it's a lot of just kind of this stop and go sort of feel. It's a bigger workout than you think it's gonna be. Yanking on one with two hands to get a nice tight turn.
Good driving.
Thank you very much. You know what, man? That was really kind of an awesome experience. I think some days I have the best job in the world. I was really surprised at the maneuverability of this thing. I thought it was gonna be a lot harder.
It just takes a lot of arm strength to pull the brakes on, because it's got brake steering.
Oh yeah, at one point I was pulling on that left brake with both hands, trying to get it to lock up to get a tighter turn. The speed, on the other hand, the Hellcat is supposed to get up to 60 miles an hour.
When we're driving in sand like this, it sucks up a lot of energy from the tracks. Because, see, every time you touch the brakes, you're taking half of the power away from this thing.
Oh, okay. Well, that was great. So what's next?
Well, we're gonna go up to the range and fire the main gun.
All right, sounds great. Can't wait. The Hellcat comes with 3 different types of guns. First is the 76mm cannon. Second is a 50 caliber M2 machine gun. And finally, each crew member would have had an M1 carbine as a last line of defense. The ammo for each gun differs significantly in size to cope with a variety of combat situations. For this next test, I'm gonna fire them all to measure their penetrating power against real-world targets. First, we have Kevlar, 2.5 inches thick, that would be found in current military vehicles and body armor. Then, we'll fire each Hellcat weapon against a 2-inch thick piece of steel, representing armor on a light German World War II tank. Behind both is a soft target representing a human torso. To establish a baseline, I'm first going to fire on them with an M1 carbine at 100 yards. There we go. As I expected, the 30 cal round doesn't penetrate the Kevlar. And my second round just splashed against the steel plate. Let's go hit it with a 50. All right, going hot. Interesting. With this Kevlar, it didn't go all the way through. Now, if there's a body on the back side of this, obviously it's gonna be like you got punched in the chest really, really hard. Over here, not a chance that a 50 cal round is gonna penetrate 2 inches of steel. If you're inside a tank, it's gonna be really disconcerting to hear them outside hitting your tank, but on the inside, you're gonna feel kind of warm and fuzzy because they're not penetrating. But let's get out of 76 and see what happens. Assisting me today as my loader of the 76mm main gun is Captain Daniel Firmaglich, who commanded an M1 Abrams in Operation Desert Storm. 2 rounds in a row. We'll fire the Kevlar and then we'll fire the steel.
All right, you center mass?
Stand by. All right, just gonna work the elevation and traverse here real quick. All right, here we go, coming up. Okay, so coming across. All right, looks like the traverse is on. Elevation is on. Go ahead and load. All right. Set the fire. It's ready. On the way. Woo! Kevlar is destroyed. All right.
On the way! Woo! Weapon safe. Looks like we have 2 targets destroyed. Alrighty. Nice. That was awesome. So that was really simple, man. That bore sight is dead on, but that Kevlar, right off the bat, I could see that that thing was totally destroyed. Working those traverse and elevation wheels, it was easy to come over to the second target, and obviously you were on point there. I mean, I wonder how fast we could kick rounds out, even being a relatively new crew.
As fast as the loader can get around into that breach.
Yeah.
And you can track on a target.
That was easy. You want to go check it out?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
You can see the hole in the Kevlar right there.
Oh, yeah. So right here, you can see the this Kevlar is obviously no match for this particular round. And this would be the entrance wound over here. It's all fiberglass, blew it out the backside. Pretty terrible. And then you come over here to this, and we were dead on. The sights, that bore sight, it's the way to do it.
He knocked it off its welds.
So basically what we had was 2 inches of steel. You know, you had a pretty solid piece here, and you can see the steel's just totally destroyed. Melted it almost as it came through, you know, ripped it all apart. That's a lot of kinetic energy moving through this thing. I mean, you can shove your fist right through there, look at that. It's not good. And then on the backside steel, I mean, obviously this is a round that's meant to penetrate that tank armor, and it did a good job for a long time. So obviously, these secondary targets, the soft targets that are supposed to be protected by the armor, destroyed, right? That's not good. Here's another piece over here. That's not good. Anytime you're ripped in half, it's a pretty bad day.
Yeah, that's a bad day.
Total destruction and annihilation. That's what I saw through the scope. So a 12-pound projectile moved 800 pounds of steel that far and punched that hole through there. That's serious business. Now that we've seen what the Hellcat's main gun can do against plate steel and Kevlar, we're gonna rock these weapons against a truck-sized target. I'll see if I can destroy the target with the 50. If I can't, I'm gonna jump down on that main gun and see what I can do with that. That means launching a 12-pound, 76mm shell at 2,100 feet per second. Ready? Going hot. Abrams Tank Commander Dan Firmaglich will be my loader and spotter for this upcoming test.
There you go. Left, left. Come left. There you go. Bring it up. Yeah, right there. Center mass.
All right, man. Let's go ahead and hit it with the main gun.
All right.
Ow.
You ready?
Stand by. Working the traverse and elevation wheels, that's stuff that I'm familiar with, and it's something that translates from artillery and tanks into infantry working with crew-served weapons.
Okay, let me know when you're ready and I'll load.
All right, go ahead and load.
Loading.
All right.
Weapons armed. Up.
On the way! Target still intact. Making adjustments. My first shot on that truck target hit low of where I wanted it to, low and left. All right, on the way.
That truck is gone. You blew the roof clean off.
Nice. I came right back on target, exploded the target. It was a beautiful thing.
Oh, that was incredible. If I could see the roof, it must have shot up a couple hundred feet in the air and just flipping around.
Did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Well, I just saw the roof of the truck fly up.
I wish I'd have been a little bit more accurate with the 50 cal and taking out those soft targets. Unfortunately, free gun mode, I wasn't really used to that.
I saw you hit the door and blow out of the side window.
Once we got on that main gun, it was all good to go. I mean, what's going to survive that? By the end of World War II, tanks have been classified into 3 different types. Light tanks, such as the U.S. Hellcat, were used primarily for reconnaissance. The German Tiger was a heavy tank that was used normally for assault operations and breakthrough attacks. Medium-sized tanks like the U.S. M4 Sherman became the workhorses and usually constituted the majority of a tank force. As the political climate changed toward the end of the war, so did ideas about the strategic use of tanks. The United States and the Soviet Union, former allies in World War II, confront each other in the Cold War. If the Cold War goes hot, the expectation is of a massive Soviet assault across Europe, led by enormous numbers of the T-55 tank. To get the lowdown on the Russian T-55, I'm meeting former Army tank recovery specialist Dave Wang.
The T-55 tank is the most produced tank in history. We think there might be over 100,000 of them made. This tank is successful because it's robust, reliable. Like an AK-47, they're mass-produced. Just like Lenin said, quantity has a quality of its own.
The T-55 is powered by a V12 water-cooled diesel, 580-horse-powered engine with a top speed of 34 miles an hour and a range of 250 miles. It is armed with a D-10T 100mm rifled main gun. Hey, Dave, thanks for coming out. Thanks for bringing your tank. And from what I understand, this is the monstrosity that we were all scared was going to come rumbling through our cities and towns if the Soviets ever invaded.
That's correct. Well, this is a Soviet T-55 main battle tank. It was the main tank for the Soviets during the Cold War, and it was also used by the Iraqis in the last Gulf War.
So during Operation Iraqi Freedom, they were still using this tank?
That's correct.
Well, let's walk around and take a look at some of these features. Right off the bat, I noticed this barrel. What are we talking about? What caliber is this barrel?
It's a 100mm D10T model.
And this obviously is not the barrel. I mean, a barrel wouldn't be deformed like this.
That's a heat shield to help dissipate the heat.
Okay, and what about the armor on the front of this sucker?
200mm frontal armor designed for traditional warfare.
All right, so coming around this way, what does that mount for?
That's for a Dishka heavy machine gun for anti-aircraft.
The side armor here, it doesn't seem to be as thick.
It's half of the thickness of the frontal armor.
And are these external fuel cells?
Yes, that's one of the design flaws of the T-55.
So this thing takes a hit from the side, and these fuel cells are just gonna go up.
It could explode and catch on fire.
Now, let me ask you this. What was it like on the inside for the crews that piloted this thing?
These things are very Spartan. They're made very small, and like I said, they're mainly made with low silhouette. They do not have the crew's comfort in mind when they build these.
Let's check it out. Man, that looks really cramped down inside of there.
Absolutely. Watch yourself. Oh, very tight.
Man. Okay, just getting in here. It's a pain in the butt. All right. So this is really, really tight on the inside of here.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not claustrophobic, but if I was, I'd be freaking out right now. It takes up to 4 people on the inside, right?
Driver,
Mm-hmm.
gunner, commander, and loader.
And loader. Wow. No, I'm not a tall guy, but I'm about 200 pounds. I'm nearly 6 foot. Were there height restrictions on these guys?
I think they try to limit them to about 5'6".
Oh my goodness. And how far back does this thing come every time
When
that
it
fires?
fires, it travels all the way back here.
So that even limits the space even more. I
Yep.
can't be over in this area when this
No.
thing goes off. Wow. I mean, this is amazing. And to be able to maneuver, to grab around and load it, I mean, you're right up against the top of this thing. You really don't have that much of an ability to move around very well.
No, you got to be very agile to be in the Soviet tank corps.
Gotta be pretty hardcore.
Now, what about the driver? It looks like he's got the comfy seat up there.
Yes, he does.
So it pays to be a good driver.
Well, you want to drive this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me introduce you to John. He'll teach you how to drive this.
John Palmisano works with Dave Wang, keeping all their vehicles tuned up and ready for action. He's showing me how to drive the T-55.
T-55 is a very confined compartment, driving compartment. It's a manual transmission and has no synchros, so it's very difficult to get it in gear. And then there's a fine line of shifting and working the gas and the handles, the control handles, to get it to steer.
I never thought I'd get a chance to drive an enemy tank, especially here in the U.S. To make this more interesting, Dave is lining up some obstacles to drive over to show off the T-55's mobility and brute force.
Start her up.
Hey, John, tell him to step on the brakes. Step on the brake.
I didn't even really realize that I was rolling backwards. I was so worried about trying to get it started again.
Brake.
The thing was in neutral, and of course, I'm trying to figure it all out. I've been driving this for 5 minutes.
Come on up, tell us what you think.
Man, I think compared to the Hellcat, man, that is a lot harder piece of machinery to operate. It felt like the turns weren't as tight. That left handle, you know, I'm just making left-hand turns, but sometimes it feel like it would almost come out of battery. Okay, so here's an idea. Why don't you get in here, show me how it's done?
Okay, we'll do.
It may be a Soviet tank, John, but it's piloted by Americans today. What do you say? I'm gonna take this flag down.
Go ahead, Will, let's take it down.
All right, John, let's fire up this T-55 and do some damage.
Okay, Will, let's see what it'll do.
Straight. Straight. There you go. Little to the left, 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 left. No, that'll do. Get that cab. Right, go, 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 go. Hey, John, what do you say? Let's go check it out.
Let's do it, okay.
All right, so what are we talking about? 36 tons of steel, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, all steel, no sex appeal, really. It's not a sexy vehicle, but look at this cab. I mean, just totally demolished.
This is still in good condition.
Have that, take it home. You can see where the track just rolled right over here, just chewed its way through. Look at the rim. Look at the rim on this thing. I mean, these are things that are built to withstand a great deal of force, and it's just warped out of proportion.
Well, this is what it's meant to do. Going through Europe, crush vehicles, scare people, run over obstacles.
Thanks for bringing the tank out.
You're welcome.
Thanks for letting me drive it, most of all.
You're welcome.
Man, good job, man. As a reaction to the Soviet T-55, NATO forces began introducing their own main battle tanks, like the US M60, a tank specifically designed to face off against the T-55 in Europe. The M60 caused the Soviets to upgrade the models like the T-72 with its larger 125mm gun. Finally, the M60 gave way to the current Abrams tank series. Having tested the power and speed of its ancestors, the fast and furious American Hellcat and the monstrous Soviet T-55,
It's now time to check out the greatest tank crew training facility in the world and see why these tank systems are so lethal in combat.
To experience how a crew is trained to drive and fire a tank, I'm at Clark Simulation Center, home to a sophisticated computer-controlled training system for the M1 Abrams Tank.
This is the Close Combat Technical Trainer, or CCTT. And at the controls today is instructor Matthew Wood. He's creating a battle simulation for me.
We can simulate everything that they would see in the field environment right here. All 64 modules inside the simulation bay can be put in simulations simultaneously and conducted all in one giant war game. Some of the targets that you're going to be engaging today is such as the BMP. Fighting vehicle. He has a 30mm main gun. He also has the ability to fire anti-tank weapons at you. I say some of the other targets that we have available to you are just a regular truck target. This is an example of the T-72 tank or T-80 tank, the new Russian version tank. He has an effective range of about 2,500 meters.
We'll be using two types of simulated ammo, sabot rounds for penetrating tanks and heat rounds to ignite light armored vehicles.
And this is the tank crew that's going to take you through your paces.
All right, man, let's do it.
I'm teaming up with a tank crew from the 194th Armored Brigade. We're heading to one of the dozens of simulators in this facility where I'll test out my skills as part of the four-man crew. Sergeant Popham will drive the Abrams, while I'll be the gunner. Sergeant Carrillo will be the tank commander, and Staff Sergeant McKenzie will load and instruct me.
I think the favorite thing in the simulators, you can die, you can learn how not to die, and you don't really have to die. Targets. All right. You got all the room in the world in here. So right here, you're gonna have the same palms to move the gun.
Okay.
And then these are the triggers, like where your trigger fingers are.
Okay.
And then palm switch always has to be depressed.
What about like turning the turret? How does that happen?
Oh,
you just turn it left
just
and right.
turn the whole thing. There you go.
Okay. All right.
Okay, here we go. What's his J box?
I got heat.
All right, gunner disable the tank.
All right, identify tank.
Up.
Fire. On the way. I'm off on that.
Well, I missed the first armored vehicle target.
Only the drift.
All right, I got it. How's that? 1,800 meters. All right, got it. Heat. Got it.
Fire.
On the way.
A second miss, and now we're taking incoming fire.
Again. Re-engaging. On the way. Oh. Did you get killed? You did not get killed.
Yeah.
That's not cool, man.
This is a lot harder than it seems. In real life, I'd be dead from enemy incoming, just like these Iraqi tanks brutally taken out by American fire during the first Gulf War. By spending hundreds of hours in the simulator, our troops can be prepared for any and all real-life combat situations.
All right, we're gonna switch places. I'm gonna let you be the gunner because obviously I'm not too Johnny on the spot with these controls.
All right, right there to your right. This is gonna be the commander's control handle. The basic thing you're gonna be doing up here is watching for targets.
Okay.
In my new role as tank commander, I'll be using the independent viewer to identify targets for the gunner and prompt him to mark ready for elimination.
As he identifies a target or you identify a target, you're gonna have to give him a fire command. Gunner, sabot tank, for example. The sabot round, if you remember, takes out a tank or a tank-like target. I'm gonna be filling in as the loader. As soon as the round loads, I'll say up, and your next command will just be fire or fire and adjust.
Even though I've only had a couple of minutes training, I must command this veteran crew into a scenario created and directed by the control room. It's not unlike some of the live-firing tank maneuvers operating at Fort Irwin. Many hours of this multi-level training gives tank crews priceless experience in honing their skills for real-life situations. During my stint as tank commander in this next simulator test, we'll enter an enemy area where armored vehicles must be destroyed before they destroy us.
Yeah, it looks like we're moving. Is that a target?
Target?
Yeah, target, sabot tank.
Identified.
Up.
All right, fire.
On the way.
Okay, now we're on target.
There's another one. There's a closer target.
We'll shoot Sabo.
All right, target Sabo tank. What are you laughing at?
Gunner Sabo tank.
Gunner Sabo tank. There we go. All right, fire.
We get another one.
Gunner heat tank.
Identified.
Up.
Fire.
On the way.
Yeah, it's destroyed. Cool, man. Awesome. Target destroyed. Good job. Good job. We killed all the tanks.
My experienced crew is able to take out all 3 targets because of its expert U.S. training that is second to none.
Thanks a lot, guys, for the instruction. And, I mean, I can't even imagine doing this for real.
Now that we know the basic duties of the Abrams crew, it's time to see what it's like to command one of these exceptional weapons in combat.
To experience the most up-to-date method to train on the Abrams, we've come to this massive firing range on Fort Benning. This is the Digital Multi-Purpose Range Complex, better known as the DMPRC. These tank crews are undergoing their final live-fire test to qualify for combat duty.
I'm following the crew of Tank Delta 2-3, nicknamed Destroy, on their mission to pass the Abrams Tank Crew qualification test.
The purpose of today's exercise is to ensure that every crew member is qualified and ensure that they're ready to go overseas, fight the war, and make sure that we're ready to go.
So, this is your final qualification, become, like, combat ready? How fast do you have to engage target to target?
You got 50 seconds once the target appears to shoot it down, so you got to be pretty quick.
What if you fail? Do you not deploy?
They give you a second chance to go at it again.
Okay.
But for bragging rights, you know, of course, you want to get it the first time.
What kind of targets do you expect to see out there?
Tanks, PCs, you'll see a couple trucks, and the RPG teams and troops.
All right, cool, you guys. Well, good luck, and I'm gonna get out of your hair, so I know you got stuff to do.
All right, thank you.
To pass their overall qualification test, every crew must run 6 different exercises, each with specific scenarios and targets. Today, the crew of Delta 2-3 is running Test 5 with a variety of different threats: stationary, moving, frontal, flank, near, and far. Crews are graded on their speed, accuracy, and efficiency in hitting the targets. Each tank is fitted with video cameras, so every action in the field can be assessed in the control room.
So, right now we're inside of the exercise control room, and what these guys are doing is they're monitoring every step of this exercise. On one side, we have the guys who set up the exercise. On the opposite side, we have the personnel that evaluate every step. Every action that they have is scored and timed.
It is time for the challenge to begin. The tanks head out to the range, and we're following close behind to observe the test.
There's the target right there. Just popped up.
That looks like a direct hit.
It's impressive. So, what you've got is this tank picked up the far target. Two targets. In a very, very short period of time, these guys launched 2 Sabo rounds. I would say those shots were less than 15 seconds apart, which is really a testament to how well the crew works together. They have to spot the targets, engage the targets, scan for other targets, and re-engage any secondary targets in the area, not only with the cannon, but also with small arms fire if necessary.
Hey, the troops are probably going to be right in there.
Suddenly, infantry targets pop up, and the tank crew quickly takes them out with their M240 machine gun.
Hey, the mover went down, right there.
And the enemy doesn't stop coming. The crew spots a moving armored personnel carrier a half-mile away on the far ridge. This will be a tough one. They miss, and the clock is ticking on this critical target. They take out the personnel carrier. Now, they must traverse quickly and eliminate an RPG threat 250 yards away. All that's left are 2 long-distance targets.
Oh, target.
Can they spot them in time and take them out?
You got troops at 12 o'clock right over this berm.
The tank's 120mm shells hit their marks. After firing at the last target, the tank crew makes its way off the course to the after-action review room. Delta 2-3 gets a detailed debriefing on today's test. While not perfect, they did enough to advance and face their final mission. So in order to qualify, you guys have to fire Schedule 6 tomorrow, is that correct? Yes. That's the actual, like, no kidding, this is the test. We're combat ready, the Super Bowl. All right. You guys feel like you're gonna do a good job?
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. Good job, you guys. Thanks for being our tank crew today. I appreciate it, and good luck tomorrow.
All right, thank you. Thank you all.
Qualifying for combat deployment in the state-of-the-art Abrams M1A2 tank is no easy task. But I'm happy to report the crew of Delta 2-3 did pass their final test. When it comes down to it, that's why the Abrams is the most lethal main battle tank in history. It's the dedication of the crews, combined with the best training available, that gives the Abrams its winning edge in combat. I'm Will Willis, locked and cleared. I'll see you next time on the range.